How do I plan and shoot corporate video? Typically, the first thing you want to do is talk to your potential client about like what we're doing. So we got the 150, 300, and tripod, light tube, and stands, and then all the stuff that's in here. That should be enough for the interviews. And we got my dog's toy, taking that as well, and a couple sandbags, and I have no idea what the space looks like. They've never sent me a picture, so I'm trying to keep it relatively light. We'll see. Bring it. Usually includes key questions like who are we interviewing, what are we talking about, do we need a teleprompter? I hate using teleprompters personally. I think that it makes people look really robotic, and it's better if you ask people questions and try to get it naturally out of them. The way that they would inflect words and just their eyes and stuff like just looks way better and more natural in my opinion. So if I can, I try to get them to do it off of the teleprompter. The other really key important question is how big is the space? What are we shooting in? Is there lights already in the space, or do we have any restrictions? If you're shooting an event at like a corporate kind of event venue, like sometimes there's restrictions as to where you could go. So asking questions about the space, I mean, you have to just, before you even shoot anything, you have to have a very clear objective as to what you're shooting and what they're doing with it. Like, you know, like if their intent is that this is going to go on Instagram, like maybe you don't really need to bring a whole bunch of lighting equipment and go crazy and do like a whole like Netflix interview setup. It's just really dependent on what they're looking for. Now, I'm the kind of shooter that I'm down to do whatever. So if like you just want me to go in there with a A7S III and just kind of like run and gun, like I'm down to do that. I'm down to shoot whatever. It just depends on the needs of what you're doing. I personally do a lot of run and gun type things, so my like kind of go-to would probably be to have the A7S III on like a gimbal and just be more run and gun and flexible with that, and then have my FX6 as a like shoulder type rig, and then be able to plop that into an interview setting, because usually the kind of videos I shoot is will have an interview and then B-roll associated with that. So we kind of want to be a little mobile. And in terms of the interview, I mean, sometimes I can get pretty fancy and have like 3-point lighting and have way more time for setting up the interview, but sometimes like it's just pretty run and gun, and I just kind of set up my VL300, which is like, it's made by Godox, and it's like kind of a knockoff of the Aperture 300. I just set that up with a softbox, and in most scenarios it looks great. It's just, you gotta just get rolling. If I have time to set up lights, I have a 300, a 150, I have a 60D, I have light panels, tubes, and I can get all creative and do different things with it. But a lot of the times, you just put a 300 up and you're ready to roll. You really just want to be concise, and you want to have a clear objective. That's the most important thing, because at the end of the day, it's like, what is the client doing with this? What are they doing with this? And then that's going to kind of dictate a lot of your needs. Like, I think sometimes something I see people doing is that they really want to do like this high tier videography or high tier film for their like own ego's sake, and they bring out the 9 yards and they're doing all this fancy like setups and things, with the client like really just wants a YouTube video, and you don't need all of that. Like, they just want to move quickly. So it's really important that you have your objective, and you understand what you are shooting and what they're doing with it, and then you build around that. Because of course, if you're recording an interview that's going to go in a film, then that's different. Or like if you're recording an interview that's going to go in a commercial that's going to play on the Super Bowl, like your requirements and needs are going to be way different. So I find that some shooters, though, like really just for their own ego want to like bring out the 9 yards and do this whole, they're just not flexible. And I think we're kind of moving towards where clients want more content, more low production content than one high production piece. So instead of like what I've noticed a trend in is instead of like one highly produced commercial piece of content that's like the piece they're making, they want lesser production, more quantity that they can upload to social media and LinkedIn and Instagram and all this stuff. So that's what I've seen a lot of.